Welcome back to Number Sense, the YouTube channel that helps you make sense of all the numbers in your life, or at least the ones in your math book. This is video number 4 in our fractions series, and today we're going to be comparing unit and non-unit fractions using greater than, less than, and equals to symbols. Let's get started. First of all, let's look at these numbers. We have here 6. We read this as 6 is greater than 4. And if you put a piece of paper over the symbol and slowly move it, first of all, you see 2 points. So when we see the 2 points first, that means greater than. So if we had, instead of a 4 here, if we put, say, 8 here, then we would need a different symbol. And that's this one, which is the less than symbol. And this one, if you use a piece of paper to cover it, the first thing you see is 1 point. So that's how we know it's less than. So 6 is less than 8. We're going to be using those symbols and comparing fractions now. All right, so first of all, I'm going to build the fraction chart stairs upside down. So by that I mean I'm going to put the 1 at the top, and then the 1/2 under it. I'm just going to use all the unit fractions. If I were to write part of a fraction, or part of an equation, 1/6 is greater than, what is something I could put in this space? Looking at our fraction pieces, 1/6 is greater than what? There's 4 options right here written down. We've got 1/7, 1/8, 1/9, or 1/10. We could put any of those in there. I'm going to go ahead and use 1/7. Okay, how about if I do 1/4, and this symbol is the less than. 1/4 is less than what? Using just fractions, I could use 1/3 or 1/2. So I'll use 1/2. 1/4 is less than 1/2. So let's think about it this way. If you were hungry, would you rather have 1/2 of a carrot or 1/3 of a carrot? Well, if you're hungry, you want more, and 1/2 is more than 1/3. What if you had a choice between 1/5 of a cookie and 1/6 of a cookie? There's not a big difference, but 1/5 is still bigger than 1/6. So I personally would pick 1/5, even though there's not much of a difference. What if we go all the way down here and we have 1/9 and 1/10? There's not much of a difference, but there is still a little bit of a difference, and I would still pick 1/9 because it is a tiny bit more. What if you have to fold the laundry? And your brother says that he will do 1/5 if you will do 1/7. Who would do more of the laundry? If your brother said he'd do 1/5, if you do 1/7, who's doing more? Your brother's doing more. How nice of him. Which is more, 1/7 or 1/8? Well, we can see 1/7 is more. Which is smaller, 1/2 or 1/3? 1/2, 1/3 is smaller. So I see a pattern here. The pattern is that as the fractions become smaller, there's less and less of a difference. There's a pretty big gap between 1/2 and 1/3. But when you get down here in the 7ths, 8ths, 9ths, and 10ths, there's a very small difference. So what would happen if we divided 1 by a really large number? What if we did 1 divided by 100? That would be 1 divided by 100. 100th, can you imagine cutting this little 10th piece into 10 more pieces? They would all be so small. Now that we've compared unit fractions, we're going to work with non-unit fractions. As you can see, I've built my whole fraction chart here, and we're going to compare some fractions. This first one, for an example, we have 2/6 and 2/7, and I already wrote the symbol in there. We're going to either use a greater than, less than, or equals to symbol. So if we look up here, we have 2/6 here, 1, 2, and 2/7 here. We can see that 2/6 is greater than 2/7. Let's look at the next one. This is 3/3 and 1. We have to decide what symbol to put in between here to make this true. So let's find 3/3. Here's the thirds row, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, and then 1. They're the same. So we'll put an equals symbol here. 3/3 equals 1 whole. Let's look down here. We have 2/4 and 1/2. Let's find 2/4 on our chart. We have 1/4, 2/4, and then we have 1/2. And they are the same. Okay, another equals. Next we have 8/9 and 9/10. So let's find the 9th. Here's the 9th row. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8/9 right here. And I'm going to put my marker here to mark that. Maybe. And then we need 9/10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9/10. This is the edge of 9/10. And we can see that 8/9 is less than 9/10. So we'll go ahead and write the less than symbol here. 8/9 is less than 9/10. Now for the next two, I have 3 fractions, and we are going to compare all 3 of them. So we have 1/6, 1/7, and 1/8. Let's go look up here. 1/6 is greater than 1/7, and 1/7 is greater than 1/8. So we'll just use 2 greater than symbols here. Greater than and greater than. Now over here we have 2/3, 2/4, and 2/5. Again, let's see. We have 1 2/3, and then here we have 1 2/4. 2/3 is greater than 2/4, and 2/4 is greater than 2/5. That was easy. Thank you for joining us today. I hope this video was helpful in understanding comparing fractions. I also would like to take a minute and put in a little plug for the kind of fraction chart that I use, which is this kind where they're vertical on top of each other. I'm not sure what to call it, but this fraction chart is far superior, in my opinion, to circle fraction charts. You will find if you look on Amazon, especially, or anywhere really that you buy school supplies, if you search for fraction pieces or fraction charts, you will often get circles. And the fraction pieces will be circles that are divided up into all the different fractions. And these are fun to play with and put together, but they are not helpful when you're trying to compare fractions. I mean, they work for the obvious ones, but if we tried to do 8/9 and 9/10 like we did in this video and tried to compare them on a circle fraction chart, it would be almost impossible to tell which one was bigger unless you could physically move them on top of each other, which would be hard because it's lots of little pieces. For an example of this, I'm going to show you a problem that I actually saw on a placement test for a math program yesterday that I was looking at. And it's a very good math program, so I'm not even going to say what program it is because I don't want to criticize them at all. It's a very solid program, and I have used parts of it for my kids when they needed extra practice or for different things. But this particular problem, I was looking at it, and as an adult who has gone through 12 years of regular school, 4 years of college where I took calculus and advanced math classes, I've tutored for, I think, 6 years now. And I struggled looking at this problem. I had to really look at it and really think and try to figure out what the correct answer was. And that's not the goal. Of course, our kids need to be able to think about math. And that's one reason why I'm starting this channel, because I don't believe that students should memorize everything. They need to know how to think about math. But we also don't want to make it unnecessarily hard. That kind of a problem on this chart is so easy to tell. If I'm comparing 1/3 and 3/8 on this chart, all I really need is some sort of straight edge, or I can even just use my hand. In this case, I don't have enough hands, but I can compare 1/3, and then I can just go straight down to 3/8. And I can compare them fairly easily, okay? So that's the kind of comparing that I prefer. Also, I like that this doesn't have all the different colors, because as I mentioned in a previous video, we don't want our students sorting by colors, we want them sorting by size and getting used to recognizing how 1/4 is greater than 1/6 or 1/3 is greater than 1/4. So those are some reasons why I really like the fraction chart that we get from Right Start Math that we use in my family, and there will be a link in the show notes if you want to pick up a copy of it for yourself. Thank you so much for watching today, and please like and subscribe for more content like this. Bye!